Hey everyone, Cream Ray here, and today I have Nuno Milheiro on with us today. Nuno, how's it going?
Hi, Karim. Everything good, thanks. And thanks first of all for your invitation. It's very kind from you. And yeah, I hope I can also bring something to your audience and your project that is excellent. That I also follow your work. So I hope you are also well. Yeah.
I'm well, and I hope you're well as well. And thank you for joining us today. Nuno, can you please introduce yourself to the viewers?
Yeah, sure. Like you said, so I'm Nuno Milheiro. I'm Portuguese. I'm a professional scout. Currently, I work for a Bundesliga club that is called Greuther Fürth. That you might know for sure. In the past, I also been working also for clubs as FC Porto in Portugal. Also a club in Portugal called FC Felgueiras, where I was building their scouting department. I did also other jobs, like outsourcing for scouting. I was building also a platform, a scouting platform. I was part of a startup. Yeah, so many things involved with scouting, and and I've been pretty much like linked with football all my life. So.
Nice. Yeah, the beautiful game. So I know you're always traveling to different countries. Where are you right now?
At the moment, I'm in Berlin, in Germany. Yeah.
Germany. And is that the location that you usually stay in?
Yeah, usually I'm based in here since September last year. So yeah, but I travel all the time. Like I do also some other markets. So yeah, but mainly I'm based in here. Yeah, between here and Portugal, but much more often in here. Yeah.
Nice. You mentioned some other markets. What are your favorite markets? Your favorite football markets?
Well, it depends. I wouldn't say I have any favorite market. It depends. It always depends on for what reality you are looking for. Like what kind of players can be suitable for a certain market. I can be honest with you. I quite like Scandinavian market. I think there are good players in there. For example, I love the African continent also because produces many good players. They're completely different. South America, so I believe North America. As you can see, I know that you also follow my work and some interviews that I do. I emphasize I go a lot to the North American market because since young age I followed the development of soccer in America, also Canada, and and I believe that it's growing a lot, and I also have friends there, and so it's also a market that I like. It's not so easy, it's expensive, but it's a good market also.
Nice. So Nuno, I want to go back in time. I'm not too sure if anyone has interviewed you and asked you and said, hey, take us back in time, and how'd you get involved into the beautiful game, and then lead us off to the ending of how you got into scouting.
Yeah, sure. So I got involved in football since young age. I was playing since I was 10. Although my parents they didn't like football, but I had friends. They were telling me I was playing well. Actually, I'm telling you, not many people know I started as a goalkeeper, but then I started to play very I started to play well as a midfielder, very well, very quick. It was very quick, a very quick process, and then I joined. I had a friend that was convincing my parents to take me to the trials of a club in Portugal called Boa Vista. That at the time it was the best one of the best youth academies in Portugal, together with Sporting Lisbon. We became national champions even. So I joined them, and from there, then I played around 10 years. I played till I was 20. Then I quitted football. I had some injuries. I decided also to quit football for other reasons, personal reasons. And I've been working in different industries, more in the financial side. And then I was also a sports trader for 5 years, what gave me a different perspective of the game. That in these days is also important because of the analytical part. I can see also the numbers behind the scene, and during all these years, I've been living also in England for 5 years, and my friends were like telling me you should get your badges to be a coach, but I always try to be honest with myself. Coaching was never my thing. I've been 1 year with a friend that is a coach. I've been like following his trainings. I've been also with him every day to understand the process, but it wasn't my passion, and I tried to follow my passion, and then I think it was always there, the passion for scouting, and then I realized a few years ago that is scouting that I wanted to follow, and yeah, I became a scout, and then I can tell you how it happened.
Yeah, before we get into how it happens, I have a couple of questions in regards of what is sports trading? I've never heard about that before.
Yeah, so basically it's like you do with the stock markets, but you do it in football. Especially I was specialized in football. So the game is happening, and you see the odds in the market. I was working with a, you can say like it's a bookmaking, but it's a market. It's like it's Betfair. Obviously you heard about, and you see what is, there are different strategies, and you see what is happening in the game, and you try to see if the odds are fair, if they are not fair. So it's it depends on your strategy, but it will be a long conversation. But it was what I was doing for 5 years, to understand also the game in that part. Obviously, I knew the game, but it's a completely different perspective. Yeah.
And then, you mentioned follow your passion. How did you know scouting was your passion?
That's also interesting, and then you probably gonna laugh because since young age I was playing Football Manager, that at the time was called Championship Manager.
Hmm.
Since I think, well, I can tell you that Francesco Totti was 17, so when I started to play, so it was I think in '92, and then I was like in my computer I was editing all the players' details like height, weight, putting everything together, like the database, the different markets, different leagues. I knew in my head thousands of players, I knew their full name, I knew the height, the weight, the everything, and I was like watching many matches on TV, and I remember once the first player I had a chance to interview, that was a player from Nigeria called Emmanuel Amonik that played for Barcelona and also played for Sporting. He was the first player I had a chance to, today we are friends, and I had a chance to interview him and to tell him when I was young. I remember I was probably 11 or 12. I saw him playing in a tournament, I think of under 19 or under 17, and at the time he was playing for a club in Egypt called Zamalek, and I was thinking, because I'm a Sporting Lisbon supporter, and I was thinking to myself, oh, I would love this player to go to Sporting, and it was very unlikely that to happen. And after a couple of years, he joined Sporting, so I was like, oh wow. And then also I remember a player called Diego Forlan. I don't know if you remember. Diego Forlan is from Uruguay. He played for Atletico Madrid and Manchester United. And I remember he was playing in Argentina, and I was watching the Toulon tournament in France. I was watching on TV all the time those tournaments, and it was the same thing. I was like starting to see players with quality, and then they were ending up to go after a few years to big clubs, And I was like, oh, this is interesting. I like it, that thing, and also the fact that when I was playing, I was always on my own trying to improve myself, like training my skills, training to be creative, to improve my capacities. I remember, for example, for 1 year, I'm right-footed. I was training my left foot for entire year. Even my coach was like upset with me because I was playing all the time with my left foot. That wasn't great to improve. So those factors were like, I was analyzing myself as a player, trying to improve, see my capacities, and then obviously scouting. It's something that you can do also to see what the player can improve. Also the adaptation to different realities. I also like the human side of the player. I always see that. I see, I like also to analyze of course, it's like more subjective, but the adaptation they can have for a certain league. After also with the sports trading that I told you, I could understand also. I already knew in some part, but I could understand how the different leagues work. How is the pace of the game? How is it's completely different, the game even within Europe, like in Germany, it's completely different. The intensity and other things are completely different from Portugal, from Latin countries, from the US, from Canada. So you also need to understand if the player is going to fit in there, his personality. So it's many things around scouting that I was always interested, and so that's still my path. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, there's a lot of detail that goes into it. Um, you know, you didn't mention how you got involved into scouting. How'd you get in?
Yeah. So it was interesting because I started to take all the courses I could
Oh,
because
sorry. Nuno, sorry, I wanted to mention something cool you mentioned. One of the players were playing in Egypt. My mom's from Egypt, so I'm half Egyptian. I wanted to mention that. Sorry.
okay, that's great. Egypt did well. It was a shame, in the final, but yeah, but the coach is Portuguese. Carlos Queiroz it's a great coach. And so I got involved because I started to like I said to you, I was in a different industry for many years, more in the financial side. And then I was like, okay, now I can invest a bit more. I'm going to start to do it because, when you finish playing, I was around 20, 21, you always think, I had invitations to go back playing, and you always think, I'm young, I still have many years. But then time, and you will see, you're still young, but the time then flies, and then I was 30, and I was always delaying, like always postponing. And I was thinking, no, this is the time. And I started to take some courses, online courses, for example. I remember now I work also for Soccer Hub. That is the platform, the world leader platform for education for soccer experts. But at the time, I found the platform just randomly, and I started about many courses in there. I did other courses everywhere I could, to also to get to know the people, to also to be able to ask questions to the ones that were already involved. Obviously, you always learn different perspectives. I try to build my own things. It's like reading a book. You never learn everything on a book. In a book, you need to read many, and then you take specific things from for what you identify yourself from here, from there, and that's what I wanted to do. So I decided to invest, and then I was thinking, okay, so what can I do now to get actually involved in the industry? So I started to create reports for myself, because I believe that for you to become, to improve and to progress and to find your own style, to keep improving, you need to work. So I started to do. I created myself my own templates. I created reports that then I was improving, and then I created my own. I would say like players profile that I was looking for, without being involved in any club. So I started to do for myself like a database of players that I found interesting, and up to a certain amount of, an amount of the player value. I wasn't looking for players that are top players up to a certain age, and then to see the development, if they were actually going to where I was thinking. Yeah, and they were going pretty much for what I was predicting, for the kind of clubs I was predicting. And then by coincidence, I was in FC Porto organized there. They had a partnership with scouting, with a company that do some scouting courses, and I went in there just for that workshop. I was there assisting the workshop. And then by coincidence, I was talking to one of the guys of FC Porto. We were just talking, and he was asking me if I was working for any club. We were talking. I think probably he liked me, and he was asking if I was watching youth players. I said not so much, but I know some players. The other day, for example, I went to watch a match. I know this player, and then he was asking a guy, "Oh, do you know this guy?" And then he had good information about the player, and then he said, "Are you working at any club?" I said, "No, no, I work for myself. I'm just improving my process." And he said, "Do you have any chance you can send me your reports, or do you have any documents?" Or I said, "Yeah, yeah, I can send you." And I sent to him like I remember I sent him the documents without editing or nothing, just my uh, my notebook, like with all the notes I was taking and the report I was doing. I said, "You have that, so I don't need to put everything pretty for you to think I'm, I just want you to. The information is there. If you think it's valuable, okay." And he called me after, I don't know, 2 weeks or something, and he was inviting me to join FC Porto. And then I stayed in there, and then from that moment, then the things were like, like I was telling you, I was moving. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. I like, the fact that you're saying it's simple, right? You gave it to him raw, and he found it very valuable, and then an
Yeah.
opportunity was created. Can you share the timeline of like all the clubs that you've scouted for and the year of the club, the year that you were with them?
Yeah, I didn't start long. Well, the process started pretty much in, I think, 2016, around that time. And then I was like, I don't know how long I was doing some works also for some coaches, also some guys that were like hiring me to do some reports, like seeing some projects. But then in FC Porto was in 2018 when I started. And then I quit it in the beginning of 2019. I didn't stay long in FC Porto. It was more in the youth teams, but at the time I was like I was not identifying myself so much with the way that the scouting was at the time. Now I don't know how it is, but then I had an opportunity. I was there was that platform that was actually asking me to cooperate with them as a scout. And then I was giving them ideas about scouting and everything, and they were looking for someone to be a co-founder of the company, someone that knew about scouting, the scouting side. So I was joining the platform. I was building pretty everything in the scouting side, like talking to many clubs. We've been invited to go to FIFA. With the idea was like something unique. FIFA even told us that they never heard such an idea like that. They were very interested. We've been in many congresses and been invited in many places. And then I had the opportunity to join the club that I work, Greuther Fürth. I started there working in the Portuguese market more. They invited me to work in there. Their budget was not so great at the moment. They were in the second Bundesliga, and but I started to work for them. But in parallel, then I had an invitation from a friend. He became a friend that was a coach. He was coaching a team that used to play for the first division in Portugal, but at the time was in the third division. In Portugal, not many teams at the time had scouting departments, and the third league pretty much any. And he said, "No, I'd like to invite you to build the department because you have experience from different industries. Because I've been leading teams, I've been building departments in different industries, and I also know about scouting. So I was bringing my team. I was inviting some scouts that I trust, and I said to him, okay, but I can build a department, but then I'm not gonna stay because I work for my club. But I can put everything together for you, and then I'll pass, or to one of the other scouts or to someone that you choose, and I'll leave it with you." And I've been working that project also, and then I kept working for Greuther Fürth, and yeah, and also in the meantime I also work. Sometimes some coaches hire me, some coaches, some sports directors, agents. I try. I wouldn't say I avoid, but with agents is like I like agents that treat players well. If I think it's sometimes some agents or ask me something, I can also like I can recommend. Obviously, if something doesn't interfere with my work, with my club, if there is no conflict of interests, you know what I mean? So the work that I do for the club is one thing; it's confidential. I work for the club, and then obviously there are players that that I know that or is not on my market or is not players that my club can reach, and I can also work in that part as an advisor. Yeah.
Got it. I'm pretty sure. What's the name of the company, if you're able to share that with us, that you've?
Yeah, it's called Athletes.
Athlete.
Athletes.
Yes. So
Ath-
I
yeah.
spoke to one of the founders.
Dinart. Yeah.
Yeah. Did he mention that to you?
No, no, no. But I know because we are friends. Now we became friends. We are constantly in touch. I still give them the feedback, and yeah.
Yeah. So I spoke to one of the founders because I wanted to. I came across their platform. I think through Soccer Hub, possibly through one of the platform's partnerships. And
Yeah,
then
probably.
yeah, we talked. I'd seen the whole platform, which was cool. So okay, awesome. Yeah, yeah. He mentioned you, and I told him that I had an interview with you, and he's like, you're gonna learn
Oh,
so much. So I was like, yeah, it's awesome. So it's cool. It's cool.
yeah,
Um,
it's cool. Yeah, but sorry to interrupt you, Karim. But the platform when we started, the idea was different. The
mm,
idea, it still exists that idea, but we had to migrate to a different thing because I was also telling them because when I was working in that club that I told you in Portugal, building the scouting department, I found a gap in the market, that's something that doesn't exist, and the clubs need that service. So they migrated to that service, so then they can provide the other one. So we always been in touch. I'm always open to give also my feedback and to also to help in what I can. So it's interesting, yeah, and it's a very interesting platform with very professional people that I think sooner or later they will make a big difference. Yeah.
nice. Do you know when they're gonna bring it to the market?
Well, I believe they are already working with some clubs, but yeah, but the process has been obviously very intense, very hard work to do the things properly, and yeah, I remember, for example, I was building from pretty much from scratch, like every single part of the scouting, and that took me like. Obviously, you improve some things, then you talk to people and you see what you need to deliver to a certain kind of people, like some people need this functionality, some others need another. So we try to put everything together to build the things also for in the future to be able to bring other tools together, So that's a big challenge. And but the things to be, the things are done in a proper way. That's what is important. Also with a good team, that also is very important. And yeah, so but I believe sooner or later they will be there in the market working with many clubs because I think it's something necessary and it will be very useful for the clubs because even myself I was struggling to find some software that could do that. So I was telling them there's nothing in the market. There are softwares that can do, but always with some bugs, or they also have limitations. They don't allow you to do some things. Some others they don't. It's quite hard, or it's not very. And I think when you are building a database, and it's very important that you build it properly because we are talking about a lot of data and you don't want like after 2 or 3 years to lose all your data because it's not compatible, because you don't have all the data that you need, or because you cannot like add more things. So the things need to be done properly. And football, it's very soccer is very behind of other sports, especially American sports where you have scouting for many years. And but that's a different subject. We could even talk about Moneyball, that people think that they can reproduce that or they can copy from Moneyball. They can do it in soccer, but it's completely different. Obviously, you can take some ideas, but baseball is much more linear. Like and it's not possible to replicate the same thing. It's possible to take ideas, to take also the analytical part to soccer, but it's not it, you always need you always need also the scouts to be there present in the stadium to understand other things, because the reality is one that a soccer player inside the pitch can take many decisions, so it's not only one outcome. You have the ball in your feet and you can do many things, if, and it's about decisions. It's not so linear, like I said, and even without the ball you can do many things. So the stats, and obviously I like the film, and I think it's a brilliant idea. I even have the book. I think even the book is better than the film. So but it's not, you cannot just bring one thing from one sport straight to soccer. You can bring ideas like everything. Like you can bring ideas from basketball. I always followed all the American sports pretty much, and even when I was a trader, I also was working with American sports. You can take ideas from other sports, for example, and you can see that every day. You can see, for example, in set pieces now, and it was actually a Portuguese coach that was using the way that they mark in basketball, the way to mark the players in the set piece, especially in the corners, for example. And you can also see the goalkeepers are. I had a chance to also to interview probably the best goalkeeper coach in the world that worked with Jose Mourinho many years, and I was asking him because I see the goalkeepers are going a lot. If you see Neuer, for example, from Bayern Munich, it's different style. It's like more handball style goalkeeper, So the things also, it's good to bring all those things together from other sports, and but it's not like scouting. It's much more than that. Yeah.
Got it. A quick question. You mentioned that you built out the database. How long did it take for you guys to build out the database?
Okay, so the thing is, we didn't in the beginning. We are not building the database. Who was building the database was the club. Okay, we just wanted to deliver the software, the tools that they could build all the database, in a proper way where they could have everything. So we are not actually building the database for them. It was a tool for them to use. Now, the things, like I said, are different, okay? But that's something like it's pretty much the same, but there is already with the players inside. It was more a different kind of platform, but it's not right. It should be the best person to talk about it will be Dinard to present, and I think if you are, it will be brilliant for you also to interview if it's something that you wish, because we will bring very fresh ideas. But yeah, it was that way.
Yeah, I would love to. You also mentioned Soccer Hub. What year were you a part of Soccer Hub from the beginning, or was it something that you came across?
Yeah, it came across. It's interesting. This thing with football is interesting because then you get opportunities that you are not expecting, and you try. I always told, like, when I decided to come to return to football, I said to myself, I have two things: that is work, not only focus on the money that I'm gonna get. Obviously, it's important, but it's not my main thing. My main thing is to enjoy what I do, and it's also to work with people that I like and that I believe in, that I like their values and identify myself with. And with Soccer Hub, it was exactly that what happened. In the beginning, when I bought all those courses, I liked the platform straight away. I didn't know who was the CEO, nothing. I just found that was very interesting platform. And then I realized that the CEO was Portuguese. And then I started to give him feedback, without asking him nothing. I just, like you are interviewing me, I like your project. I think when people have good projects, doesn't take much to, if you can bring something to do somehow, I'm not, it's not help. It's like, if you can just do something for someone with a nice idea, why not? I'm always open. So he was asking me some feedback. I was giving feedback. I was telling what I was thinking. And then after a while, we had a meeting. We decided to have a meeting to see, like how Soccer Hub could improve. And he invited me to, if I wanted to become part of Soccer Hub. as a partnerships head of partnerships in the beginning. And now I work also on we have a corporate side. We work with clubs, also with federations. I'm the head of commercials and commercial and partnerships. And then the other challenge was the part of doing the interviews. Like first started to be honest, Ricardo is the CEO, and Ricardo was challenging me to write some articles, to write some, without. He just wanted me to write about football the way I see it. Different subjects, I could choose a subject. He was not giving me any subject in particular, so more reflection articles. So I was like, okay, Ricardo, I like to write, but I'm not a journalist, I'm not experienced. I try, but yeah, and I write when I started to write, and I enjoy writing and to give my own perspective, and it was okay. And then he was like, okay, you should do interviews to players or to coaches. I said, nah. So I was like, I was saying no a few times, but he was like, I don't know. We saw capacity. Maybe I don't know. He's a good or a bad scout. You guys can judge because he said, oh, I think you have the, like the saying, everything that is necessary to interview the players. You can be yourself. Like they enjoy, and you can also take the things light and make people laugh, and just take it easy and everything. And I said, okay, but like I don't like to expose myself. I don't like so much to be, in front of a camera or I don't wish that to. I like to work behind the curtains. So it was, come on, give it a try. I said, okay, I'm gonna give it a try. I'm gonna interview a player that is my friend since kid. We are friends for many years, and but let's try. Okay, I challenged my friend, and he said yes. But I didn't know it was live straight away. I thought it wasn't live. So, but when it came the day, Ricardo said, "Okay, so guys, you are going live now." And I said, and I'm in those things. I like challenges also. And I was thinking, he believed on me. And then now sometimes he even jokes. He says, "No, you enjoy even more than what I thought. You are constantly doing." And then I said to Ricardo, I said, "Okay, so if you want me to do, I have one condition is this one. It's like I choose the people that I interview. I only want to interview people that I like or identify myself for some reason. I'm not looking for only big names or not so well-known names. I want interview nice people and people that are willing to share their knowledge. Okay, obviously you tend to go to players that you admire inside and outside the pitch because you saw interviews, nice people. I always try the first thing is the person to be nice, and then I said okay, and I choose the subject because it's according to what I see about that person. I think it's interesting to talk about a certain subject, for example, and I do the questions, so I do pretty much all the questions I ask, and I try to be spontaneous. Also, I said to him, it's my way. He said, it's fine, do whatever you want, and he gave me that freedom. He trusted me, and yeah, I'm always grateful, and he knows because he was finding on me something that I was never thinking to do.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's similar story with my mentor as well, but it's nice to know the backstory of your interviews because I've watched a couple of them on YouTube, which have obviously great value and information, and with some amazing people as well, including yourself. You mentioned, I was gonna ask, more shifting towards the scouting side, what advice would you give to players to attract a scout?
Okay, so there are many things that you can tell to a player. The first thing is for the player to also to show commitment, to show passion for the game, and all the other things I believe pretty much you can improve. Many depends on the age. Okay, if we are talking about professional players or we are talking about young players, because on a certain age, for me, for example, it's important that the player is enjoying. You have passion for the game is the first thing up to a certain age. Then try always to be committed and always learn different, to also listen, to not to be in these days like the players we are facing. I believe, like especially in young ages, all the players are pretty much all the same way. They don't give freedom. The coach, I don't know if it's the coaches, but or the clubs or the society, whatever, doesn't give them freedom to be creative. So I would say for a player to be himself, to believe on himself, to try to improve and to think by his own head. Because like if you are actually, I think one of the most important things, and I look a lot this on a player, if it's the player has some, if he knows actually what are his limitations, what are, okay, I know that I'm a player, I cannot be a Cristiano Ronaldo, but I can be very good on this, and sometimes it's very, very valuable for a club, because I believe that scouting is not just to hire the best, let's say 11 players to play the starting 11, the best 11 players you can have, the best ones. No, sometimes you need guys that they match with each other, they can play as a team. Maybe you need, for example, a right back is not so great, but he's a guy that you can trust, and is always like, his performance is always good. Maybe he's not brilliant, but you can rely on him. So those things are also important. Or is a player that doesn't get injuries, for example. So not, if a player is conscious about his own skills, if he can improve the ones that, okay, some of them he can improve, some of them depends on the age he cannot anymore, some others he cannot, because it's obvious it's hard to work on them. But if he knows his own limitations, I think it's very important to also, like, to not try to be like everybody obviously wants to be like a top player. But if you are, if you know that you cannot be a top player, be the best you can. And if you perform well, if I watch a player 2-3 times and he always performs well, he's very regular on his performance, he's committed, he knows what he's doing, tactically is good, is a good player tactically, technically he have enough. Okay, obviously it's important, the technical side, but he have enough to perform well. So I think, it's a good thing.
Great advice. Last two questions. How do scouts make money?
Okay, yeah, that's something that you should. I challenge you to interview club presidents and owners, and because I think we should get more than what we get, because we find, I can tell you, we can find talents in lower leagues many times, and the clubs get them pretty much for nothing, and they sell them for millions. So it's like, that happens. That's the reality. So we get money, like, it depends the clubs. Like, obviously if you work for a club, in principle the club is paying you. It depends. In the beginning, maybe if you want to get involved, I even have a course that people can check, is free, a free course. I think you saw it. I advise this: if you want to get involved in the beginning, give your time, like, spend some time, even offer to a club that you can do scouting for free, because you are improving, you are not professional yet. It's like the same when you finish university, maybe you need to be, working for a while, just to learn how the work, the market is. So try to do the same, and then to get paid, obviously it depends also the way you want to follow. Some I had some offers to work for agents and earn a lot of money from the beginning, but I refused, because I didn't want to go that way. You know what I mean? I wanted to work in the long term. I know exactly what I want to achieve, or in the things that I want to invest, that I want to progress. I want to mix also, for example, the analytical part, the analytics and scouting. Because I don't think there is many people that knows both things together. The numbers and also the knowledge about football usually is separated. So I try also to do that, to get paid. Or you get to a club, you are good, and you have an opportunity, you can apply. Even there are not many adverts, mainly in England. They are more open in that, and they also have more scouts. You can try to apply. You can try to go to a club and say that, okay, I'm willing to work for you guys to show you my work. And if you like me, I can work for you guys. And obviously, if they need someone, you will be the first one in there. Or you can be like, do opponent analysis. You can be an analyst, for example. Some scouts, they start as analysts, for example. It wasn't not my case, although I can do also like analysis, like game analysis is not my, I know how to do them. I can deliver it perfectly, but it's not my passion. You know what I mean? But you can also start from there. Some other they start as scouts, but to get money, pretty much is the clubs or is the agent. The agent is in these days, if they want to have a good network, or if they want to know players, they also need scouts. Or, you know, like, of course, after a while, if you have some good reputation and people know your work, you can also be a freelancer and work for different clubs, or you can be specialized in a certain market. So there are a few options. If you tell me, if it's something that you should be, that, you know, you don't know many scouts in the world that are known, you know, we say, like, people say, they talk about Monchi. You know, he was a scout, a sports director, but you don't have many scouts that actually, you know, their names, or they get a lot of money. So, but I believe in the future, obviously, I think the clubs will understand the importance of having good scouts, because especially in these days with smaller clubs, obviously we also there are clubs that they can hire 80 or 100 scouts and they can pay them, but also they can go and they can buy Mbappe, they can buy Haaland, they can buy. So the scouting is that important for the professional team. There are players that everybody knows. So the smaller clubs, how they survive, they buy players usually that they are cheaper, they develop the players, and then they sell them to bigger clubs. So if they want to find good talents in lower leagues, they need to understand, they need to have scouts that actually know that reality. And the scout, maybe it is not so, also it's something that you cannot measure the work of a scout. Oh, did you find any player that you club signed that was like that was a big deal for the club? Sometimes it's not like that. Sometimes you find a player and your club cannot sign him because he had another offer, or the player doesn't want to go to that club or something. You know, I'm not in the negotiations. What my part is to just to bring players that are a good value for the club. Then they take the decision, you know. But what is important is to identify the players, to identify the good players, where they are, the solutions we need. Sometimes we found a player that is brilliant, but for example, we already have 2 players that are performing well enough, or they have contract already for that position. For example, there are many aspects that you cannot control. What is important is you believe what you see, and yeah, and you recommend, basically.
Last question.
Yeah.
What sparked your interest about you know, about me, about One Soccer Nation, that you liked, and you said, you know, I'd love to do this call and hop on and do the interview?
Well, to be honest, I think it's always your approach, you know, like because I try all the time to, maybe some people are watching or will watch and say that I didn't reply. It's very rare, I can tell you. It's very rare. I always try to reply. But you know, you have many requests, you know, it's normal. Especially in football, I get many messages of guys saying, "Oh, I know this. You are a scout. I have these brilliant players. They send me the videos. That's it. That's it." Okay. No, you actually approach me in a nice way, kind way. You know, very well educated, very clear, and that you had the project. And yeah, then I checked. To be honest, I was checking not so much because, you know, like I said, I'm open to talk. So I thought, no, he's committed to his project. and so I believe on it. So if he believes I can bring some value to it, why not? So it's more the human, I for me it's very important the human side, the
Mm,
human part in football or in life or in everything. And sometimes in football, unfortunately, that doesn't exist so much. For me, it's still important, And the way you approached me, you always been nice to me, and you explained me, and that's it. I'm here.
thank you. Yeah, it's awesome to have you on.
Yeah.
Um, wait, I'm just gonna pause it real quick. Okay, so we're towards the end. I have 5 speed questions, Nuno. You gotta answer them fast. So the first one is, who's your favorite team? I don't know if you can answer that
Okay.
one.
Okay. Greuther Fürth.
Your favorite player?
That's a tricky one. Can be a former player. I only had one idol, so I can tell you.
Okay.
Gabriel Batistuta,
What country?
Argentinian.
Argentina. Okay.
Go and check him online.
I will. Okay.
Yeah.
What about, when you were playing, what's your favorite pair of boots or cleats?
Oh, I have plenty boots, but I like Puma King and I like Adidas the Copa Mundial.
Okay. Nice. And the last 2, your favorite food?
My favorite food. Okay, I can tell you it's a dish from my city, Porto. It's called francesinha, and I'll type it to you, and you can search. Yeah, it's meat, and yeah, it's more. Yeah.
Mhm. The last one, your favorite artist musically?
David Gilmour.
Good
Yeah.
one. Favorite song by him?
Well, that's also a tricky one because I like many, but I can tell you like coming back to life or no, a great day for freedom.
Okay. Nice. And I'm assuming, I forgot to mention this, but I'm assuming you could speak English, Portuguese, German.
English, I don't know. You can tell me if I can speak English or not.
No,
No,
of
I'm
course.
joking. I'm joking.
You can speak German,
No,
Portuguese.
no, 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 no.
No?
German, no, 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 no.
What? You're living in German though.
Man, no German. My German is not great.
So
No, I can speak, I can speak fluently English. If you consider fluent,
yeah.
I think yeah, I'm joking. Yeah, fluent English, Portuguese, Spanish. Yeah, I can also do some interviews in Spanish,
Hmm.
and I can speak Italian. I can understand pretty much. If I practice, I can manage also. French also the same thing. I don't practice so much, and also French, and that's it. Yeah, no German.
So
No German.
English, French, Italian, Spanish. Wait, how many
Portuguese.
languages are 4? Portuguese 5?
5. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wait, so that's interesting because you live in Germany and you don't speak German.
No, and yeah, I just moved to Germany in September. But yeah, German is not easy language, and it's completely different. And you need to have proper classes. English, I had obvious in the school I had classes, but English you learn like watching films or like yeah, it's. But anyway, Spanish it's similar to Portuguese, although there are many words that are different, and people in Portuguese think they speak Spanish, but they don't. I learned Spanish because I was reading news in Spanish or watching Spanish football. I was always interested. Same thing with Italian. I never had classes. French, I had 2 years in the school, but then I forgot. I don't practice so much. But German is quite complicated, because it's a completely different language.
Mm.
And I think it's possible. But and if I don't know the future. I always keep the future open. But if I stay living in here, definitely makes sense to learn German. Because I think at least the basics I always try to learn when I go to a country, especially to live. I think it's part of respect also. You are living in that country. I try to say the things that I know about in German, or I always try to learn small things. But yeah, I needed time to have classes, and the classes to speak German will take you, if you want to learn in 1 year, you need to have classes like 8 hours a day every day. It's like but yeah, otherwise it can take you like 3-4 years. It depends. But yeah, it's not that easy. It's not that easy. But it's possible. It's possible, and it's something that I would like to do. It definitely.
Yeah, I think being able to speak multiple languages is amazing. It's a great skill to have. But yeah, Nuno, before you go, I just want to thank you for taking the time for joining us on the One Soccer Nation podcast today.
Thank you, Karim. It's my pleasure. Okay, and all the best for your project. Okay, and anything you need from me, that just reach me. And yeah, it's been a pleasure, and I hope you guys like it. And yeah, so take care.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.